Today, we're talking about one of the most frustrating experiences you can have as a workshop host. You create a fantastic workshop. You spend hours on your content. You make the slides, you create the workbook, you set up the registration page, and you announce it on social media. And then you send an email or two or three, and then you wait and wait. And a few days before the workshop, you start thinking, where is everybody? Has that ever happened to you? You know your workshop is good. You know people need what you're teaching, but somehow they're not registering. And this is where I see a lot of coaches start questioning the wrong thing. They start saying, maybe nobody wants this topic. I should change the topic. Or maybe my audience isn't interested in what I do. Or maybe workshops don't work for me. Maybe I should create a different workshop. But before you throw out the workshop and start all over again, I want you to look at something else. Did you actually have a plan to fill the room? Because creating a great workshop and filling a great workshop are two completely different things. And you need a strategy for both of those. Now, what I see happen all the time is this post and pray kind of strategy. And a coach will decide, hey, I'm going to host a workshop because that's a great way to find clients and bring clients to me and fill my programs. And it is, it's wonderful. And they choose a date, they create a registration page, and then they put up a post on Facebook and maybe another one on LinkedIn, and they send an email to their list. And maybe a few days later, they send another one and then they wait. And I just call this the post and pray strategy. You post about it, you pray somebody sees it, send out an email, you hope people open it. But that's not a marketing plan. That is not a promotion plan. And I like to think of these as campaigns, not just promotion, but we're campaigning. We're creating a whole campaign, not just posts. So, hang on a second. Okay. So that's what I'm talking about today is how do you do your promotions for your workshops in a way that it creates a plan? And hold on just a second. For some reason, it's not letting me spotlight myself. Hold on. Welcome, Rachel. Just started. And for the recording's sake, it always looks better if I do this. So we're talking about creating a plan and not just random posts. Hang on a second. Hello. Why is this happening? Hold on. Showing Rachel as the speaker. This is not. Oh, really? Okay. That's so weird. It's not showing it. Okay. So we're going to keep on going then. Weird. Okay. All right. So if that's what you're doing in your workshops, you're just posting and sitting out an email or two and just sitting there and waiting, hoping people will show up or hoping people will register. That could be the problem, not so much that your workshop, that there's something wrong with your workshop. And especially today when one social media post can only reach a small percentage of people. And if your email list is still growing, sending a couple of emails to the same people isn't necessarily going to fill the room either. So here's the shift. Hang on, this is really bothering me. Okay, hang on there. All right. So here's the shift I want you to think about. Stop thinking about promoting your workshop and start thinking about creating multiple paths to your workshop, not just a single promotion. It's a campaign. It's a plan. You're creating multiple ways for people to find you. So imagine that your workshop is a room, and right now, how many doors lead into that room? If you only promote on social media, you've got one door. If you only email your list, you've got one door. And you're standing there hoping that enough people will walk through to fill the room when you only have one or two doors for them to enter, right? So I want you to create multiple doors into your room. One door, of course, is your email list, and of course, LinkedIn and Facebook and Instagram and all the other social media sites out there. And another door could be a JV partner, somebody who's a joint venture partners, what JV stands for, somebody who has your audience. They have an email list, they have a following on social media, and it's the same audience that you serve, but they serve them in a different way. And they could send out emails on your behalf. They could post to their own Facebook and LinkedIn pages to promote you. So now we've got some more doors opening, and the more partners you have, the more doors you have to your room, right? And then another door could be doing a podcast interview or speaking on a summit or at somebody else's event. Those open more doors because now you're getting in front of other people's audiences again. And in that interview and in that talk that you do, you invite them to your workshop. Now, how about a networking group? Maybe you go to some networking meetings in person or online, and you're telling people this is what I have coming up, and I'm looking for people to spread the word for me, that I've got this workshop coming up. Now you've opened another door, and probably several, because there may be several people in that networking group that are like, hey, I'll tell people about it, I'll post for you. And maybe I want to come, or my clients want to come. So networking is another way. And another one could be just directly inviting someone that you know would really love your event, and you send a direct message on Messenger or inside of LinkedIn, or you text them or even call them, directly reaching out to people and inviting them to your event personally. That's another door. And that one is very powerful because when you do that kind of promotion and you're directly inviting someone personally, they that really means a lot to people. They're not just getting a mass invitation, but you actually reached out to them in a personal way. Now, suddenly, people are discovering your workshop with lots of different directions and from lots of different angles. And here's the great news: you don't have to have a huge audience to do this, especially if you're asking other people to promote you. And also on social media, especially Facebook, if you're a member of a group on Facebook that has your audience and they allow you to promote, keep a spreadsheet of what days you're allowed to promote in those groups. That's what I have. Like on Fridays, I can promote to this group. On Wednesdays, I can promote to this group. And then you make that a part of your promotional strategy, right? Your campaign. And you put that into your calendar before your workshop is coming up, and give yourself a month to do all this, or two, even if it's your first workshop. And put on the calendar, I'm going to promote in this group on that day and this group in that day. So that those are some more doors opening up. And again, you're getting yourself in front of other people's audiences and not just relying on yours. So this way, you're not relying exclusively on your own email list. And that's important because I hear coaches say all the time, but Janelle, my email list isn't very big. I don't think I can do a workshop yet. I don't have enough people on my email list. But we're not exclusively just promoting to your email list. This is a huge mistake that even some of my clients are making. And I keep telling them, get on some podcasts, get on some summits, find some partners, and go into other people's groups. Even I also recommend doing an Eventbrite. Eventbrite is a search engine for events. You can post your event in there, and you can even pay for an ad. It's 25 bucks a day. Do that for 2 or 3 days before your workshop. Now you've got opened another door. So this is where relationships and collaboration become very powerful. You're not just relying on your audience on social media and your email list. You're borrowing other people's audiences. And really, my favorite strategy is that collaboration with another person who has the same audience. We call them JV partners or affiliate partners or collaboration partners. They serve the same audience you do, but not doing the same thing you do with them. For Example, I have a author coach. She works with people to write their book, and a lot of them are coaches. And so they want to take that book and do workshops to either uh, invite people into a course that goes along with their book or just get the word out about their book. And so a lot of her people are interested in workshops, and a lot of my people are interested in writing a book. Same audience, but we serve them in different ways. So we make really great partners for promotion. They've already built relationships with their people. I've built relationships with my people. And instead of trying to find every attendee myself in my own audience and my own list, I'm building relationships with other people who can introduce them to me. So again, that can be joint venture partners, that just people who will email for you to their list or will post on social media for you. Or it can be summit hosts, podcast hosts, other speakers that are speaking on maybe the same summit as you, and you can reach out to them and say, hey, maybe we could collaborate and promote each other. That's a great way to find promotional partners. Pay attention to that when you speak on a summit. Who are these other speakers? Could I build a relationship with them? Maybe people you've met at networking events, and maybe they're not a good match for you, but maybe they know someone who would be and they can introduce you. So referrals and introductions become very valuable. Maybe somebody that you, a past client that you worked with, or even current clients or colleagues, people that you have been through training with or have worked alongside with, people in your professional network. So it just grows as you start to look outside of your own little realm of your audience and your list and see how else can I get this out there in many different ways and many different avenues and have more doors into my room. So, and this starts with a conversation. These relationships that you build take time. I've had mine for years, but it started with a conversation, getting to know them. Hey, I think we serve similar audiences. I'd love to learn more about what you do and see if there might be a good fit for us to collaborate with each other. You don't have to walk into every conversation asking someone, hey, would you promote me? No, build the relationship first and ask them how you can help them, and then look for ways to support each other. You build trust that way, you build a connection, you build a partnership. And many of my partners are friends now. So the other strategy I talked about was speaking. You want to speak as much as you can before a workshop. My workshop is this week, actually, Wednesday. And before I started promoting it, I already had 70 people registered. Before I started my Eventbrite ad, before I started emailing my list, before I started posting on social media, before even my partners started promoting it, I already had 70 people registered because I had been speaking on podcasts, speaking on summits, and summits are even better because the timing is faster. So you look at the summits that are out there and say, well, this one is going to go live 2 weeks before my workshop. That's perfect. If I'm on that summit, then I can invite them to the workshop. Podcasts, you never know exactly when that episode is going to be uh, dropped and put out there. So that's where having a workshop every month is very handy, because then it doesn't matter when that podcast episode you were on gets aired, because you're going to have a workshop soon anyway. So you can always be inviting people to your workshops. Also, doing Facebook and LinkedIn lives. You can ask people who have a good audience on Facebook or LinkedIn and ask them if they'll do a live with you, where they invite you to do a live to their audience. That's a great way to also talk about your workshop. I just did that with one of my partners. I'm on her summit. And so to promote her summit, I invited her to last week's Speakeasy Cafe, this meeting here. And I live stream this to YouTube every week. And so she got some uh, visibility for her summit by coming on my show for me to interview her. And I've done that before, where I've gone on somebody else's either Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, or a YouTube show or something like that to speak about my workshop. So these strategies all put you in front of somebody else's community, other people's audiences. You're borrowing from the trust they've built, you know? Um, so when you're doing those talks, you're just doing a little preview of what your workshop's going to be about. Just a little, you don't go into the whole workshop because usually you have 20 to 30 minutes. You highlight the problem that you're solving, you're helping people solve in your workshop, and you're giving them 2 or 3 different mistakes people make or common challenges people have. And then give them a couple of tips that they can do, and then say, you know what? I don't have time to go through my whole methodology. You could even introduce your methodology or your framework. And I don't have time right now to go into it, but if you come to my workshop, then I'm going to go into it much more depth, and it's, going to be free. So come on and join us. That's what I always do. And I actually give them a free guidebook that spells out my framework. And that's the gift. Download this guidebook. And then on the thank you page, it invites them to the workshop. So they get a 2-for-1 deal. And that works very well when you're speaking on other people's stages. So I'm starting the conversation around the problem in my talk, and I'm creating curiosity, and I'm giving people a reason to think, I need to know more about this. And then I invite them to the workshop. So my speaking and my workshop aren't the same thing, but they are marketing, right? I'm marketing my workshop by speaking. I'm also getting visibility by speaking. So my speaking is feeding into my workshop always. Always. Everything leads to the workshop. You've got to always be thinking that. And then, of course, the personal invites that I talked about. We can think about people that maybe they've shown some interest in you in the past. Maybe you've kind of commented back and forth with them. You've connected somehow with them. Maybe they're even in your Facebook group, or they're a connection in LinkedIn, or, in Instagram. There's somebody that follows you and you've seen them show up a lot. You can actually send them a direct message and say, you know what? I'm hosting this workshop and I thought of you because, and then mention something personal, something they've said, some comment they've made, something about them. And then they know that you're actually directly reaching out just to them. And that's very different than just blasting a generic invitation to everyone. And those people are going to be more likely to not only register, but show up because you gave them that personal touch. And then you can even say, hey, if you know a friend that would benefit from this, invite them too. And this tells them, hey, I see you. I thought of you. I believe this could help you. This is so much more personal. And then I want to touch on timing. Don't start promoting your workshop 3 days before it happens. Ideally, you want to start thinking about promotion at least, if it's your first one, I would start 2 months ahead of time so that you can start speaking on stages. And usually I'm always speaking, so I've always got another workshop coming up. And usually the people that are coming, like to this one, I spoke last month on a stage somewhere and they signed up early, right? And then the actual promotion where you're promoting to your list and you're really blasting it out there and your partners are promoting, that should be about 2 weeks to 10 days before your workshop. But the doing of the speaking and the Facebook and LinkedIn lives and things like that, 3 to 4 weeks ahead at least. So don't just think, oh, well, my workshop is next week. I'm going to ask if people will promote and I'm going to put out my emails and stuff. That's really too late, especially when it comes to partners. But you also don't want to start emailing and posting to your audience too early because then they'll forget about it. They'll register and they'll forget about it. So for that, my own emails and my own posting, it's 2 weeks to 10 days before the workshop. So you can do hints before that, though. You can do like, well, this is coming soon, mark your calendar, or hey, you're always out there, doing lives, or like I live stream to YouTube and I'm always talking about workshops and speaking. And so I'm always out there talking all the time. And that can also help build that interest and visibility. And people will be like, you know what? She's been talking about this workshop for a while. Maybe I'll go to it this time. So, and you can do things every day, out there, like for the 3 or 4 weeks before, do some little short videos and be talking about the topic and the problem you solve. Create some interest, some curiosity, create a buzz. And then your partners get activated to start sending out their emails in that 2-week period. And, but before that, if you're speaking on podcasts and you're networking and you're speaking on summits, you're going to already have people registered. So when your partners start promoting, you've already got people registered. So think of this as a campaign. Think of this as not just a post. And then, of course, you want to start creating that urgency near the workshop and during that last week. Hey, we're getting close. This is coming up in a few days. And even give them hints. We're going to cover this. You can talk about one thing you're going to cover. You can, when they register, you can ask a question in the email, like, what would you like to learn? Let me know. And they'll answer you. And you're already like connecting with them and you're already building rapport with them, because registration and show ups are two different things. I don't have time to go into the show up promotion part or strategy, but give them an idea of why they want to be there. What's going to happen in this workshop that's going to help them. So my action step for you this week is, for your next workshop, try to pick out at least 3 traffic sources, 3 ways to 3 doors you can open into your room. Your own email, of course, but JV partners and maybe LinkedIn. Maybe you want to add in some podcasts or summit appearances, go to some networking groups and send out some personal invitations. Think of 3 ways, maybe 3 things that you haven't tried before, and see if that helps your registration rate and also the number of people that actually show up. Maybe this next time you want to speak somewhere, do Eventbrite, and of course your own emailing and posting. Maybe you try posting in some of these groups that allow you to promote yourself, and then add in, Eventbrite and speaking on a summit or a podcast. Try all these different ones, but don't try to do them all at once. Pick out 3 for the next workshop. Put it on the calendar when you're going to do them. And then the next time around, try some more and you just add on to it, and you create a system for yourself that when your workshop's coming up, you're going to do this on this day and this on this day, and you're going to start at this day. You have it all planned out. It actually becomes a plan, a promotional calendar, and not just a last minute, hey, I'm going to throw this out there. So, and speaking of workshops, mine is coming up this Wednesday. It's called the Client Enrollment Workshop. If you'd like to know more about not only promoting your workshops and filling them, but also what do you put in your workshop? How do you make your offer? How do you create the flow of the workshop so it leads to the offer and it makes it a natural next step? How do you follow up? All the things. We're going to dive into my 7-step framework called the Client's Framework. And that is this Wednesday, August 26th, from 3 to 5 p.m. Eastern Time. And we're going to do some work together in that workshop. We're going to start looking at your offer that you offer. We're going to start talking about the workshop structure. I'm going to give you my 6 phase. It's the 6, not phases, but pieces, I guess, it's the path in your workshop. Like, what do you do when? What do you say when? How do you lay that plan out? We're going to look at that. And we're going to talk more about how do you get people in to actually show up in the room. And this really all becomes a part of your own client enrollment system. So I hope that you will come. I'll put the link here in the Zoom room. It'll also be in the show notes underneath this video on YouTube. And it's simply clientenrollmentsworkshop.com. Come, it's totally free. You will get my gift at the end. If you come live, you have to be there live. But the gift at the end is my Pack the Room Playhouse. It is a downloadable guide or a PDF that gives you 30 plus ways to promote your workshop. So it's a pretty valuable thing. I don't give that out very often. All right. So anybody have any questions or comments? Those of you that are here in the room with me. Hi, Irina. Yes.
Hello, Janelle.
Hey.
Question. Did you try ever press releases? Did you ever try to do that?
Yeah, that's actually in that book, the Packed House Playbook. That's another strategy. Press releases are free. You can put them in your local media, and usually it's pretty easy to do. You just submit it to local TV station or radio station. I've even been interviewed on local radio and TV. Haven't done that lately, but that's a great way to get the word out as well. Press releases also, there's a thing called HARO, HARO, Help a Reporter Out. And you can contact them and say, hey, I have this event coming up. I thought maybe you might be interested in reporting on it. I actually had a local newspaper reporter and photographer come to one of my in-person workshops because they thought my topic was so interesting. And I got a whole article written on it. So there's a lot of little things like that. There's another one called The Next 3 Days. I don't know if that's all over the place, but I know locally we can post things in there. The local Chamber of Commerce, sometimes you can post things in there. All these little places where you can put your events. And that's why it's important to have that plan and say, okay, I'm going to put it in the, I'm going to do a PSA here on this day. And you plan it out. You're like, I have a month to go, so I'm going to start, doing these things. And then by the time you get to your workshop, people are coming in from all different places.
So it's not only for local the press releases. Or it's only for local activities.
Well, it depends. Usually it's a local thing, local newspaper, radio station. You might be able to do some of that on some of these YouTube shows. Like if you follow somebody and you subscribe to them, they look for sponsors sometimes. Sometimes
Hmm.
you have to pay for it, but they might do a little ad for your workshop or even interview you, and then have it in their show notes for their show. And um, so that's enough. And podcast hosts sometimes too, they're looking for sponsors for their show. You pay something for it, but then they'll do a whole little ad for you in the middle of their show. I haven't been doing those, but those are other ways that get you out there. So you just
Okay.
have to think outside the box, and think of multiple things, not just one thing. And this is the biggest mistake I see is I'll ask people, how are you promoting your workshop? Well, I'm sending out emails to my list and I'm posting on social media. And that's how I started today. It's like, that's not enough. You have to think, how can I get in front of other people's audiences? How do I get in front of more people that aren't in my audience yet?
Hmm.
And that's where trying different things helps. And then you start to build on that. And then you have this whole system in place that you can run regularly. So, and then add in new things every now and then.
Well, I used to use Eventbrite, but then
Mhm.
for whatever reason I stopped. And
Mm.
recently I thought to go back to there. Something
Mhm.
looked to me more complicated than it was 5 years ago, and I kind of
Mm.
like abandoned.
It's actually not very complicated. They
It
guide
was
you.
much easier. Let me tell you, rephrase it. 5 years ago, it was easier than now. They're a little bit, I understand it's not complicated, but not
Mhm.
as easy as I
What it used
remember.
to be. Hmm.
So I kind of like.
Hmm. I can tell you when I started doing the Eventbrite, that brings in a good third to a half of my attendees for my workshops and my 3-day event. My 3-day event, I think the last time I had 100 people register from Eventbrite alone.
Wow.
Not all of them show up,
Well, of course.
but they're on my list now. Well, some will unsubscribe, of course, but if they're really interested and they stay on your list and you nurture your list and you follow up and you invite them to the next one, then. So it's still going to give you visibility and people will hear
Hmm.
about it. And if you're consistently putting it out there on Eventbrite,
Hmm.
people that go to Eventbrite will see it again and again and again and be like, maybe I'll go this time. No.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, thank
yeah,
you.
yeah, you're welcome. Hope this was helpful for you guys. Thanks for
Yes.
coming. And
Yeah.
I hope to see you in the workshop. Let me put that link in here. Irina, you're probably coming, aren't you? I know you've been
I
before.
will try. We'll see how it works. It's on my calendar, so I think I'm
Okay.
registered, I think.
Okay. So even if you've been there before, sometimes I'll go down a different rabbit trail and focus on something different. You never know. But it's clientenrollmentworkshop.com. Let me make sure that link is working because yep, it's working. All right. Um, so hopefully I'll see you guys on Wednesday. If not, I'll see you next Monday in here. And we're going to talk about another workshop mistake next week on how to fix it. All right. Have a good day, everybody. Good
Okay, thank
week.
you.
See you
Thank you.
later.
See
Bye.
you.